Hi and welcome crafty people back to my channel. Today I have this completed stories album. So I've been collecting these stories. This is a 5.5 by 8 and had no idea how I was going to bind them together. I know I didn't want a ringed album because they're too expensive and I actually don't like the rings in the middle. I don't like what they do to my designs. So those two things set me looking for something else. I did 5.5 by 8 because the base of it is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I just folded in half. So that's why it's 5.5 and not 6 by 8. And I use the We Are Memory Keepers stitching template. I will link this stuff down below. And I punched holes in the book and sewed it up, and I think it turned out pretty good for my first time. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to make them this way or if I'm going to start using a cinch. I'm being very influenced by a fellow YouTuber, Andrea Lake. I will also link her below, and I love the little ringed books that she makes. So I'm going to see if I can get over the ring thing in the middle of the books. I know I don't want giant rings, any kind of huge rings, but if I can make them very subtle where they don't interfere with my design, I might switch over to that. If I don't like it, I'm going to try it. If I don't like it, then I'll probably go back to this style. And you have to change the way you create for those rings. Right now I'm creating right up to the edge. If I'm going to create with rings or anything, I don't like it when my rings punch holes in people's faces or into pivotal parts of the design. That does bother me. I know that doesn't for everyone, and I'm sure it looks just fine in anyone else's book, but I mean, for me personally, I don't prefer it. So I'm going to do a little quick walkthrough. So the cover I made in Photoshop. This is a digital pattern from Ellie Edwards, and I used that. I have no idea. This is digital as well. It's definitely not stamped. It's a little too perfect to be stamped. This took a lot of time though. It was cool and I liked it, and I like how it came out. I put volume 1, and this was from April of 2023. That's when I started it. That doesn't mean that these stories are from April 2023 or not even from 2023 at all. It's just when I made it, because I don't create chronologically at all anymore. I did it for years. I don't do it anymore. So you've probably seen a lot of these, probably with a handful of exceptions, and I will go over those. But the ones that I've created through the story kits, I'll probably kind of breeze through those so you don't get too bored. So this one was about connection. Love this picture of the 5 of us. My son, niece, and nephew. I get asked that all the time. And a little bit about connections and families and how we're connected. Design-wise, I love these. Let me see if I can bring it up. You can see it a little bit better. So those are our initials in white, and I love initials. I probably say it over and over again. I love enamel dots. I love using them up, especially. I like the color and the texture that they added here to something that's very clean and simple. This was, this little heart came off. I have to go back and hit that with glue. So this one about my niece and her work schedule. I love that I used a now and then picture. So this is when she was 5, and that's why the clock, I stamped 5 o'clock to remind me that that's how old she was. Little tiny hidden things in my journaling always, and in my design. I love that kind of little thing. And pretty much, I wonder if anyone else in the family would pick up on that. I know I would pick up on it immediately, obviously, because I made it, but I don't know. I always hope that they find little treasures if someone ever goes through these, 10, 20 years from now. Well, that's what I think. Okay. So this one was comparing then to now, 2020 to 2023, and how much our lives have changed, and especially for this kid, my son. So I sort of did like back then you were going to school online, and now you drive yourself to school, and all the different things that have happened. And I wrote that down, sort of a reflection about how, no matter how bad things were here, this was in 2020, I could see the sadness. No no matter how bad things are, it doesn't stay the same, right? So the clouds, I think there's a famous Maya Angelou saying, every storm runs out of rain. And that's where I got that from. That's why I use the cloud. That's it. Just a little bit of layering, different things. These are old thickers, old letter stickers. Together is better. And the two backgrounds are from Ali Edwards, as are the little cards. I use them, the digital. And that's it. Oh, this one was from the Happy Kit. I talked a lot about this one, so I will kind of breeze through this one. This is my clip. That's my favorite part about this. Extra story back here. My second favorite part about this, and the picture. Take Me to the Trees. This is all Ali Edwards too, but it's kind of like pieced together from a lot of different kits. And I like that kind of look most of the time. Super simple. This is so bold that it balances out this beautiful, beautiful large picture. And so it didn't need too much more, just the right amount of layering, two little things, a leaf and a wood title. And then this was just to sort of make a line or define the embellishment from the story, almost like a little shelf. And then here too, I think something happened, like it was going to be a full page photo, I think, and then I cut it, but I didn't want to print it again and waste all that ink and paper and all that expensive stuff, so I just figured out a way to make it work. So I ended up using wood grain, 2 different wood grains, and I kind of clipped it together with this really simple die cut that's from Ali Edwards about following the path, a leaf die cut, and just a little bit of string for texture. Always for texture, right? Texture and layers. This one I did for Carrie Bradford Stamps. This is one of her stamps, as is the I Like You, and this right here as well. Super clean, black and white. Again, a lot of texture. These are felt X and O's. This is from Felicity Jane. That doesn't exist any longer, unfortunately, as is the corduroy little heart. And then I used, this is a die cut, so a steel die of postage stamps, as is the little envelope. I popped those up on some pop dots because flat, they were just not giving me the texture that I wanted. And that's it, just a little love letter to my husband on our 25th wedding anniversary, with some bold black elements and then tiny little elements. So you see something really, really bold and big, and then tiny, tiny, tiny little things. Contrast. I love a lot of contrast. This one was from the Happy Kit from Ali Edwards, and a nice collage paired with a huge photo. I know there's a video on that one. This one I kind of created on my own. So this is sort of supposed to be like a giant Polaroid. That was the idea that I went with. That was the first idea that I had here. And the story is about when am I the happiest, and it's always when I'm with these 3. They drive me nuts, don't get me wrong, they're kids, but they also make me laugh, and I love them to bits, all 3 of them. Yeah, they're a good trio. So to add a little bit of color, because it was so white, I added some, I don't know, they look like water. This picture was taken at the Atlantis, so it reminds me of where we were. And I like the color and I like the texture, as always. This one got a little away from me. This is a little much. There's a lot of layers going on here. I'm gonna be honest. This is a bit much for me. This is one of those pages where you should have said stop, but you just kept going. That's what it reminds me of, because this doesn't look totally like me, I think. Not sure exactly what it is. Probably because I wanted to write an individual letter or note to each of the kids, like, you are the jokester, you're the heart of the group, you're the introspective one. All these nice little boxes I've placed the children in, right? I don't think you're supposed to do that, but well, that's how I see them. And I wanted them to know that. And I think that kind of like took over my idea of making this, I don't know, I wanted to make something that had like a lot of little interactive elements, but was still grounded. Not sure I got there, but I'm gonna leave it because I don't know, I like the overall effect, probably because this is so plain. So I'll just look over here and kind of ignore the allotness of this. See, this one's more my style. And it's a lot more cleaner and has this big giant shape. Oh, my word's crooked. You know, I really need to use more glue when I put these together because I see like my things are shifting, which is interesting. All right, so this one, I love this picture. This was taken in Martha's Vineyard. I found this little hidden beach along this sort of dead-end path. And it was so quintessential New England. And I just remember being so happy in that moment that my husband took that picture. So that's kind of what the story's about, and about wandering. I'm always the planner of all the vacations. I'm usually super over planned. But in this case, I wandered off the beaten path. I wandered off of our itinerary, and I found something even better. So that's what the story was focused on. I picked this kit. I think these three things and the circle were together. I'm not sure. These are from different kits, but they're story kits from Allie Edwards, as is this pretty background, because the colors matched so well to the feel and to the colors in the picture. I think the last thing that I did was put this found. So without it, the layout is cute, right? It's fine. But that, just adding those words, sort of, it looks like I'm juggling the words, and that's why I put the, make sure you can see that. That's why I put the enamel dots in the center of those, the sparkly ones. That sort of just elevates the design a little bit. It added that little thing that makes you go, you know, that's pretty cool. At least to me, right? I don't know if it's very braggy to be saying I love my own stuff, but I don't know. If I made it, I love it, I guess, right? All right, and the last one is about my dad and about working, and I did a whole lot of talking about this before, so I won't now. I love that picture of my dad. That is so him. And I love that I added the A for his first name, and the trabajador for person who works hard, and the entire story, and the 9 to 5, the whole thing. Yeah, so these are just like a collection of really good stories, and then like fun designs, and some designs that are a bit much. But yeah, loving this concept of story kits and leading with story, and that whole concept that Allie Edwards is so very good at. Grateful to her for what she's added to the industry, and this is my take on it. That's it. I think we'll see what happens with the next storybook. I have started a second one. Actually, I think it's almost all done. I just have to sew it together, and then I have to make a decision on book number 3. Are we going to stay bound, or are we going to get risky and go with something spiral bound? All right. See you next time. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time, comments, and thumbs up. Take care.